Hello everyone, and welcome to the Atlanta Small Business Show. I'm in the store Fab'rik, and I'm with the founder and CEO, Dana Spinola. We're in the Buckhead store, which is one of 40 stores. Thanks so much for letting us enter your world for a bit.
Welcome. Welcome to the world of fashion.
Beautiful store. And actually, I'm wearing an outfit completely dressed in fabric today.
I noticed. I love it. I have the same
right
cape.
Down to the jewelry. Well, let's get right into it. Now, you started the business back in 2002, and you left your very successful job in the corporate world. Can you take us back and talk to us about that a little bit?
Yeah, I mean, that seems to be the question that so many people ask. And when I think back to that time, I loved what I was doing then. You know, it was consulting. I was going into companies and looking at how they ran their business and kind of suggesting ways to do it more streamlined. But just the passion piece wasn't there. I mean, it wasn't clothing. It wasn't like I woke up in the morning just like, I can't wait to dig into work. But it was a big risk to decide that you're going to stop. I went to college for management information systems. It was my major. It was supposed to be the path that I was supposed to be on. But luckily, both of my parents are artists, and they believe in the following of your dreams. Okay. So I called them and said, hey guys, I think I'm going to make a pretty big leap and stop this career and jump back into just opening one little boutique.
You did it. You did it. Now, there are a lot of entrepreneurs and small business owners watching right now that hear your story, and they might want to start a company but don't know exactly where to get the right financing. Can you talk to us about that?
Yeah, it's important. I mean, that's the piece that a lot of people want to jump over and not get to yet. You want to get to planning the marketing and the opening and the product, but it is so important to figure out how you're going to finance this. I just got a line of credit. It just got a line of credit. It took me 14 banks that all said no, but I wrote a beautiful business plan, got people to rip it apart so that it was something I could present to banks, and finally 14 banks in, somebody said yes, and I got a line of credit and started there.
Okay, every business owner has had that moment where, oh no, what have I done? I've got these headwinds or challenges that I don't know how I'm going to get through. Do you have a scenario that you can share with us that may have happened?
Sure. I mean, I feel like that happens weekly, yearly. I don't think you ever get to point your business that those don't happen, and you get to, they come in and you can take them a little bit better as you grow. But my biggest one happened my first day. I'd been planning this business for a year and finally opened my first store. And it was perfect night. We're talking fashion show. Everyone in the city was there. Everyone was buying. I really realized, like, wow, this is a business and people love it. And so I went home that night to kind of just bask in the joy and get some sleep that I hadn't had in a year. And pop back up the next morning for my first day, you know, at the boutique. It was going to be our first day of business, and walked in and broken glass everywhere. Oh, no. I just remember thinking it was like slow motion, like a dream, where you're like, why, how, and what am I going to do? Right. You know, is there a number you call? There's glass everywhere. They had taken all the clothing. As we start cleaning up, I realized, you know, I'm going to call all these vendors back. I'm going to ask them to give me one more shot this next morning. Say I'd spent all my money, right? Yeah. There's nothing else you can do at that point. But I called them and said, will you give me 30 days to, you know, send me this inventory again, give me a shot. I really just put all in on myself that I was going to sell all this again and pay them back, and not let that dream die because of the first big thing that happened. Right. It's easy to think it's a sign that you shouldn't be doing it, instead of one that you're supposed to become a business owner right then and solve the big problems.
Yeah. Now, unemployment rates are low right now, which is great, but it makes it a little bit difficult for business owners to find good talent. Yeah. Can you talk to us about how you find and retain good people?
Yeah. I mean, I think what's so beautiful is our stores find our people. If you love being a part of shopping here, then you'll probably love working here, because it's really the culture. I mean, the wow culture that we create in the stores is the company that you'll be working for. So if you love clothing and you love serving people, you know, one of the things I found is the people that work here don't only work here because they love clothing. It's because they love the idea of going above and beyond for people. Yeah. So yeah, it's luckily been a problem that we haven't spent too much time in, because of, I think, the attraction to the type of people that work in this company. Yeah.
Now, what do you think the special sauce is here at Fab'rik as opposed to other stores in the market?
Well, I think one thing is that we, you know, try to deliver a high style experience. Like, everything's about the experience, but it's not with a $1,000 dress. We believe for a $70 dress, you can be treated just like you would at any high-end department store. So I think that part of the experience, so many times customers are like, wow, did you see this dress is only $80? So that price combined with the level of service, so to go above and beyond, not just welcoming them and finding them an outfit.
That's great. Now, you have made it your personal mission as well as your company's mission to give back. Can you talk to us about Free Fab'rik?
Yes, Free Fab'rik. So it's my heart. I mean, the idea of what clothing can do, I've watched what happens in the store. You have people come in with a diagnosis, or they're celebrating an engagement, like the highs and lows of life, and they come into the store and we're like counselors, we're talking through and working through just for regular women like ourselves. But there's women out there that do not have that circumstance. They're not going to be shopping in boutiques. And the women at Free Fab'rik are survivors of sex trafficking. So they're leaving a scenario with truly nothing but the clothing on their back. So what we do is we go into these safe houses and dress them and give them an outfit that builds that confidence. And we spend 2 hours with them. It ends in a fashion show. They all in the beginning say, I'm not going to do that. There's no possible way. And at the end, they're on a runway with their head held high and sharing their story with us. And we tell us where they're going to wear their outfit. Like, you'll hear these women say, this is the outfit I'm going to wear on my first interview ever, or to go get my daughter back in court. And just the power of that outfit and watching what clothing can do in a cycle. It's unbelievable.
It really
so
is.
yeah, it's a really important part of our business.
Yes, good work there. Can you talk to us about your franchise system and maybe offer some advice to someone that might be wanting to franchise their small business?
Sure. I mean, franchising is an incredible concept in that it allows you to grow with other like-minded people in places that you are not. I made a commitment after I was working in the consulting world that I wouldn't be out of town 5 days a week. I needed to kind of figure out to slow down my world. But I found women that are like me and smarter than I could ever be in different areas of the country that want to open a clothing store but don't necessarily want to go through that formative creating those manuals and all of that, just really want to plan a store. So, I mean, if you're wanting to franchise your business, just understand what your business model is. You've got to be able to put it in a box and it make perfect sense so that you could truly just transplant it into another city and someone could kind of take it from there.
Right. And do you have, can you share with us how, if someone wanted to franchise a Fab'rik store, how would they go about doing that?
Yes, so I mean, you can just jump on our website, fabricstyle.com, and we have videos of what it's like. We take you through this whole beautiful process after you apply of coming in into Discovery Day and seeing what it's like. It's a two-way street for us. We want to know, do you want to be part of this family, and do we want you to be partners with us? Because it's a long-term relationship, and we take it pretty seriously. So, yeah.
Great. Now, you wrote the book, Love What You Do.
Yes.
So let's talk about that for a second. It
Sure.
was inspirational, it was motivating. I really got a lot out of it,
Thank
and I think
you.
a lot of business owners really will.
Yeah.
Can you talk to us about what you really want people to get out of the book?
There's a couple things. The first one I didn't actually, when I wrote it, wasn't the main intention, but from people that read it and the person that'll come up to me in Starbucks or in the grocery store, they keep saying, this book reminded me to dream again for my life. Mm-hmm. And I think as a business owner or as a mom or just as a person, we start going down our life and kind of get farther and farther away from, gosh, what could it be like? And you're just like, well, I probably should do this because this is the path I seem to be going on. And I challenge people to wreck that up a little bit and remember, the kids want moms to dream for them and dream for their family, and setting a goal that is higher than they've seen before.
Exactly. Now, I'm going to ask you a question that isn't asked a lot of a male CEO.
Yeah.
However, a female CEO, and you have 4 children. How
Yes.
do you balance it all?
Yes. I love it because I don't balance it all. It's not about being perfectly balanced, because no day is like that.
Right.
But just not moving too far in one direction. So there's days I tell my kids, guess what? Mommy's going to come home today and I'm going to be working till 2 in the morning. You can't disturb me. I love you. And then there's days they're like, I need your full attention. I think it's the flexibility. I kind of don't operate under guilt anymore because that was not a positive operator for me. There's seasons when I need to be in strategic planning, and then there's seasons it's summer and I need to be able to just be flexible for my kids and get them to the doctors and move meetings around. But I think it's really important, especially speaking as a mom, that my kids are so important to me, but so is my company, and that I can say that very honestly. And my mom friends aren't mad that I, putting my kids behind my company. They're both very, very important to me, because the business I'm leading is a lot of people's lives that matter, and they've invested a lot. So if I'm sitting in a meeting with somebody talking about their career, I really want them to know I'm all in. So yes, I can't do them. I don't think I can do them both perfectly at the same time, but I think separately, if you're all in, give what you have there and be present.
Now, reading your book as a business owner myself, there was a part in the book that you discussed feeling overwhelmed and going back to the guilt and then just trying to balance it all. You did something that was pretty dramatic. But worked. So can you talk to us about what you did?
It was, I took a sabbatical, but it was almost like I was on this train. I was on this speeding train, and I didn't know if I could jump off, and just roll down the hill, and what would happen. And I finally just got super honest and said, guess what? I'm tired. I have fears like everybody else. I'm not even sure. My head's so cloudy. I'm taking 5-minute meetings. I was being a total grouch. It's not like everyone's like, did anyone know? Yes, if you were around me, you knew that I'm snappy and short because I need you to get to the point, because I don't really have time to hear about how your day is.
Yeah.
You know that feeling? You're like, how are you? Please don't answer too long, because I got to move on to my next meeting. So I took a sabbatical, and my team gave me the greatest gift ever, and they just said, go. I think it was probably a gift to them at that time too. Go, give us a minute, and you take a minute. But I went on a 4-day silent retreat. They took away my email address. I deleted the 130,000 unread emails. Can you imagine that feeling?
I need to do that.
It feels amazing. Nobody, the world doesn't end. Nothing bad happens. So and I got to come back to my company back on fire. The Dana that started it, just saw everything through a different lens again of possibility, instead of it's a burden. I've got so much to do.
Now, you've been through a lot and you've learned a lot. So today, as a business owner, what keeps you up at night today?
Today is the idea of what's next. I think a lot of times in your career, you're working through a specific issue. It's like there's this huge runway for Fab'rik right now and for retail. So what's keeping me up is, what direction are we going to pick? What is the next big thing? I feel like every 5 years we have something that kind of, changes who we are and adds to our DNA, and that's kind of the place we are now, is where are we going to make the next big investment? So that's what keeps me up at night. It's a good keep it up at night. I've had years where it's a tough keep you up at night, but it's a pretty exciting space that we're in now.
We're in a great place, and we're excited to watch the future growth of Fab'rik.
Thank you.
Thank you for being with us.
Of course.
Thanks for watching Atlanta Small Business Show. ASBN is a part of the JBF Business Media family.